Okay, the next skill that we're going to be performing is partial bed bath. With partial bed bath, the materials that you need is 3 washcloths, a bag, a gown, and 2 bed pads. Now I'm going to go into the linen cart, which is located outside the room, and get my materials, which is a gown, 3 washcloths, a bag, and 2 pads. Then I'm going to walk down the hallway to her room, and I'm going to knock on the door.
Come in.
And I open the door, and I close the door back. How you doing today?
Right.
My name is Teresa, and I'm your CNA for today, and I've come to give you a partial bed bath. First, I'm going to lay my materials here, and I'm going to go wash my hands and put on my gloves, and I'll be right back. When I go into the bathroom, I will not actually put on gloves, because when you take your state test, you will not actually use gloves. But you need to make a mental note, if you were really doing this, you would use gloves. Everything that you see performed on this DVD is the way that it's performed at the test site. So you will actually say that you wash your hands and put on your gloves. You will only wash your hands one time for real at the test site, and that's when you initially start. Okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom and wash my hands and put on my gloves. I'm going to come back and I'm going to check her armband. Okay, Miss Jones. Once I check the armband, I'm now following my 17 steps or tips. I'm going to gather my materials. Remember to count your water as one of your materials. I brought materials in with me, but I also need water. So I'm going to go in your nightstand, and I'm going to get your wash basin, your water, and your lotion. And I'm going to just set it right up here. I'm going to go to the bathroom and get water in here. I'll be right back. So I go into the bathroom and I get water in here. And you want this water to be 105 degrees. They do not have a thermometer, but you want it to be warm to the touch. I got water. I come back and I say to her, this water is 105 degrees. And if it gets cold, soapy, or dirty, I would change it. And at 105 degrees, it will not burn you. I'm going to set my water right over here. I'm then going to remove the call light to the pillow. I'm going to roll the bed up to a good working level for me. I'm going to go ahead and pull the covers loose and put them on the side of her. Can you move over in the bed just a little for me? Okay. Then I'm going to take my materials and lay them on my bottom sheet. I always pull my top sheet covers up on the side of my resident. So if I happen to have to turn them in a skill, my materials won't be holding the sheet down. First thing that I'm going to do is put this pad across her pillow. Can you hold your head up for me? I don't want to get your pillow wet, okay? Let me straighten the wrinkles out here. Okay. Then I'm going to put this pad across her lap so I can set my water on it without wetting her bed up. Then I'm going to take my 3 washcloths and position them here. And do not put them on top of each other. Okay, the first thing that I'm going to do is make a mitt. I'm going to wash her face. Do not put soap on the face. No soap goes on the face. You're going to wet it. You're going to go from the inside of the eye to the outside with the pinky finger that's inside your washcloth. On the other eye, you would use your index finger. That way you're not cross-contaminating. You're changing the position of your washcloth. I'm going to wet it again, and then I would wash her whole face, changing the position of my washcloth. Put it back down there. I'm going to take this washcloth and make a mitt, and then I'm going to pat dry the face. Are you okay? You have to talk to your resident also. You're going to go back to the first washcloth you had, make a mitt, wet it. Put soap on the washcloth. Never put soap directly into your water. You're going to wash this ear, changing the position. You're going to wash this ear. Put it back. You're going to take the same washcloth that you dried the face with, and you're going to rinse the ears. And then you would take the last washcloth, make a mitt, and dry the ears. Okay, now you're working from the cleanest part of the body to the dirtiest. So the eyes were the first thing that you did. You're going to do the ears. Now you're going to do the neck, but you do not want to wet her gown up, so you're going to remove her gown. Can you lift your head up for me? And you're going to untie this. Wait a minute. Don't you have the bottom one tied also? Sit up just a little bit more so I can untie this. Okay. Lay that down for me. Take this arm out. Put your arms back up underneath there. Take this arm out. Okay. And you're going to pull this gown out. Okay. While you keep her covered. You're going to put this in your bag. Don't shake your bag. Okay, now we're going to wash your neck. I'll take the first one. I'll make a mitt. I'm going to wet it. I put soap on it. Can you lift your head up for me? Let me wash your neck. Okay, let me rinse. Make another mitt. Wet. I'm going to rinse, but you got to keep her covered up. Then I'm going to dry your neck. Pat. Changing the position of my washcloth. Pat. Pat. Okay. Now what you're going to do is ask her to lift up. Can you lift up for me? And you're going to pull that pad that you put on that pillow down underneath her arm. You're going to push your sheet up here and make sure these two pads crisscross each other so that you don't wet her sheet up. Then you're going to wash her hand up to underneath her arm. You make a mitt, you wet it, you put soap on it. Can I see your hand? Wash between the fingers. Wash. Wash all the way up to up underneath her arm. I'm going to make a mitt with the next one. Wet. I'm going to rinse all the way up to up underneath her arms. And then I'm going to pat dry. Pat between the fingers, pat, 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 all the way up to up underneath her arm. Okay, what I'm going to do now is wash her chest. I would make another mitt. I'm going to wet it, put soap on it. I'm going to hold this sheet up. I would wash on the top of her chest, underneath her breast, and all the way down to her navel. You do not have to look up underneath the sheet. You would wet your next washcloth. You don't have to make a mitt because you're holding this sheet up and you wash down to the navel. Then you would take your next washcloth and you're going to pat dry. All the parts that you wash, you're going to pat dry. Then you can go ahead and let her sheet lay down. You would now say, if this water was dirty, cold, or soapy, and at this point it probably is, I would go to the bathroom and change it. And you don't have to go to the bathroom and change. You need to let the instructor know that. And that's the same way you would really do it if you were taking the test. You go and let them know. And then you would come back and you would say, this water is 105 degrees and it won't burn you. If it becomes cold, soapy, or dirty, I would change it. I'm going to put my water over there. Put my washcloths here. Fold down my mat. Ask Miss Jones to cross her legs. Okay. Can you hold up your head? I'm removing her pillow because anytime you want to roll her, you want her to be flat. Put that arm up. Can you put this arm across your chest? And putting her arm across the chest on the outside of the sheet helps hold the sheet on the front of her too, because you can't leave her exposed. Put one hand behind her shoulder, one behind her lower back, bend at your knees. Can you roll over for me? And I still want to keep her covered. I'm going to fold this out, and I would fold this other one out behind her. And then I would replace my water back over here so I can continue to wash her back. Okay, I'm going to place my water here. I'm going to get my first washcloth, and I'm going to make a mitt. I'm going to wet it. I'm going to put soap on it. And I'm going to start washing in circular motions all the way down to her lower back, changing the position of my washcloth. I would then get my next washcloth, make a mat, wet it. I'm going to rinse, changing the position, rinse all the way down to her lower back. And then I would get the next washcloth and I'm going to pat dry. Pat, 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 dry. Now I'm finished with my washcloths. I'm going to go ahead and put them in my plastic bag here. I would remove this water and the soap over here. I would take this pad and go ahead and put it in my bag. I'm going to put lotion on my hands and I'm going to rub it to warm it. In real life you would have gloves on, but for the test you would have just said I wash my hands and put my gloves on. I'm going to go from the top, circular motions, sweep up the back, circular motions, sweep up the back, circular motions down and sweep. Okay? Now I'm going to remove this pad, put it in my bag, and I would then put this sheet up on her side and ask her to help roll back over. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put her gown on. Can you put that arm in for me? And that arm in. Okay, can you lift? And I would snap this in the back. Go ahead and put her pillow back up underneath her to make her comfortable. I'm going to not expose her and cover her up with her sheet. Are you okay? Yes. Okay, I'm going to fix your covers here. I'm going to go into the bathroom and wash my wash basin once I let my bed down. I'm going to lower the bed back down to the floor. I'm going to go ahead and take this into the bathroom. I dump it in the toilet, dump everything in the toilet, get a paper towel, put soap on it, wipe it out, rinse it out, and then dry it out. I'm going to bring this back and put it in the nightstand on the top shelf where it's supposed to go. I'm going to put this back in there, the soap and the lotion. Now I need to go and take off my gloves and wash my hands, and I'll be right back. So I go to the bathroom and I'm going to take off my gloves and wash my hands. I'm going to come back and give Miss Jones her call light back. And notice how I've called her name, Miss Jones, a couple of times. But if you forget what you named your resident, do not call her name again. Because if you change the name in the middle of the skill, you fail. Because they're going to say you don't know if you have the right resident or not. So you know I've lowered the bed. I've taken off my gloves. I've given her a call light back. Again, my name is Teresa. I'm your CNA for tonight. If you need anything, just give me a call. And then I would take this dirty linen outside and put it in dirty clothes hamper. Good night.